Ladies, let's talk about something real. The world doesn't reward softness. The world doesn't slow down because you're tired, emotional, or overwhelmed. Every woman who rises to greatness learns one truth early on: softness without strength is weakness. You can be kind and feminine, but you cannot afford to be fragile. Life will test you, people will doubt you, and comfort will try to keep you mediocre. And that's where you must draw the line. Many women are taught that being soft, gentle, and accommodating is the highest form of femininity, but that belief alone can become a trap. Softness without boundaries, without self-respect, without inner power, becomes a form of weakness that the world easily takes advantage of. You can be kind and caring, but if you lack the strength to protect your peace, your softness turns into a vulnerability others exploit. True femininity isn't about being passive or pleasing everyone. It's about mastering your emotions and knowing when to be soft and when to stand firm. Strength gives depth to softness. It's what makes a woman unshakable even when life throws storms her way. Softness should never mean surrendering your identity or voice to make others comfortable. Too often, women are told to be nice or stay quiet, which conditions them to hide their fire. But real power is found when softness is paired with firmness, when grace meets grit. A strong woman knows when to listen with empathy, but she also knows when to speak with authority. She can nurture and lead at the same time because her softness comes from confidence, not insecurity. When your kindness is rooted in strength, it inspires respect instead of pity and admiration instead of exploitation. Strength doesn't erase your softness. It refines it. A woman who is mentally and emotionally strong can remain calm under pressure, compassionate in conflict, and wise in chaos. She doesn't react to every situation. She responds with clarity. This form of strength allows her to stay true to herself, no matter who or what tries to shake her. When life gets tough, she doesn't crumble. She adjusts her crown and keeps walking. That is the balance every woman must aim for. A softness that heals and a strength that protects. Softness backed by strength becomes power. It's the kind of energy that draws respect without demanding it. It's what separates the woman who bends from the one who breaks. The soft woman who is also strong carries herself with quiet confidence. She doesn't need to shout her worth because it's already seen in her actions. She gives love without losing herself, forgives without forgetting her lessons, and stands tall even when she's misunderstood. That is not weakness, that is power, disguised as grace. One of the biggest traps that hold women back from becoming their strongest selves is the constant need for validation. From a young age, many women are conditioned to seek approval, to be liked, accepted, and appreciated by others. Whether it's through appearance, achievements, or relationships, this constant craving for validation creates an emotional dependency that weakens inner confidence. When your worth is tied to someone else's opinion, you lose control of your self-image. True strength begins when you stop allowing the external world to define your internal value. You don't need applause to know your power. Your purpose is proof enough. When a woman depends on validation, she unconsciously gives others authority over her emotions. A single compliment can lift her up, but one criticism can tear her down. That's not freedom, that's bondage. Seeking validation means living on a roller coaster built by other people's opinions. You rise and fall based on how others view you, instead of standing tall in who you truly are. Real self-worth doesn't come from the approval of others. It comes from the peace of knowing your own truth. When you realize that you are enough, even without recognition, you reclaim your strength and silence the noise around you. Breaking the need for validation is not easy. It requires deep awareness and courage. You must learn to sit with yourself, to look in the mirror, and to see worth even when no one else affirms it. It's about learning to celebrate your wins quietly, to accept your flaws honestly, and to trust your own judgment. The moment you stop chasing external approval, you begin to build unshakable confidence. You start doing things for yourself, not for the applause. That's when you grow from being a woman who needs to be seen To a woman who sees herself clearly, powerful, capable, and complete. The freedom that comes from no longer seeking validation is unmatched. You stop trying to fit in and start standing out. You stop pleasing others and start honoring your own boundaries. You stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on your own progress. People will notice the shift. They'll see your independence, your calm, your quiet confidence. And ironically, that's when genuine respect begins to flow. But by then, you won't even need it. Because the woman who no longer seeks validation is already whole. And that kind of wholeness radiates power in every step she takes. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build through hardship, disappointment, and perseverance. A strong woman doesn't emerge from comfort. She is shaped by the challenges that test her patience, faith, and determination. Life will never be easy, and there will always be moments that feel unbearable. But those moments are meant to destroy you. They are meant to develop you. Every time you rise from a setback, every time you keep going despite the pain, you strengthen the core of who you are. Mental and emotional resilience is the armor that allows you to face life without losing yourself in the chaos. Building resilience begins with changing the way you see problems. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That simple shift transforms pain into purpose. Challenges become lessons instead of punishments, and setbacks become setups for growth. Resilient women don't waste energy complaining. They channel that energy into solutions. They understand that every obstacle is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. The harder life pushes them, the more they refine their strength. That mindset is what separates survivors from leaders. The ability to stand firm when the ground beneath you shakes. Emotional resilience is just as important as mental toughness. It means managing your feelings without letting them manage you. The world will test your patience, provoke your emotions, and tempt you to react impulsively. But emotional control is power. When you master your emotions, you master your decisions. And when you master your decisions, you master your life. Resilient women don't allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent choices. They process their pain, learn their lessons, and move forward with grace and clarity. They understand that strength doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means transforming it into fuel for growth. Resilience also requires self-compassion. You can't be emotionally strong if you constantly punish yourself for not being perfect. A resilient woman allows herself to make mistakes, to fail, to fall, but she never stays down. She picks herself up, learns, and keeps moving. She forgives herself for the times she was weak because she knows that growth is not a straight path. True resilience is quiet, steady, and built over time. It's the kind of inner power that makes you unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Before a woman can lead others, she must first learn to lead herself. Leadership is not about giving orders or controlling situations. It begins within. Leading yourself means taking full responsibility for your life, your choices, and your direction. It means refusing to live in blame or victimhood, no matter what you've been through. A woman who leads herself doesn't wait for someone to rescue her or show her the way. She builds her own path with courage and conviction. She knows that she cannot demand from others what she hasn't mastered within herself. True leadership starts in the mirror, with discipline, self-awareness, and accountability. When you lead yourself, you begin to understand the power of self-discipline. You learn to control your impulses, manage your time, and stay focused on your goals, even when distractions surround you. Many people talk about wanting success, but few are willing to lead themselves through the process it takes to get there. Leading yourself means showing up even when you don't feel like it, keeping promises you make to yourself, and maintaining integrity when no one is watching. It's about consistency, doing the hard work in silence and letting your results make the noise. The woman who can lead herself becomes unstoppable because her strength comes from within, not from external validation or motivation. Leading yourself also means setting standards that reflect your worth. You can't expect others to treat you with respect if you don't treat yourself with respect first. That includes the boundaries you set, the energy you allow into your space, and the goals you pursue. When you lead yourself, you stop tolerating things that drain your spirit and start surrounding yourself with things that elevate you. Things that elevate you. You begin to recognize that leadership is not about controlling others, but about controlling your reactions, your mindset, and your habits. The woman who leads herself does not chase, she attracts. Her focus, her peace, and her strength naturally command respect without her ever having to demand it. Self-leadership is also about emotional maturity. It's the ability to stay calm in chaos, to think clearly in conflict, and to make wise decisions even under pressure. When you lead yourself emotionally, you don't allow your feelings to sabotage your focus. You learn to pause before reacting, to reflect before speaking, and to respond with intention. This kind of leadership creates stability, not just for yourself, but for everyone who looks up to you. Because when a woman masters the art of leading herself, she becomes an example of strength that inspires others to do the same. She becomes proof that leadership is not a position. It's a mindset, a lifestyle, and a standard of excellence lived daily. Discipline is the foundation of every strong woman's success. While emotions fluctuate with circumstances, discipline remains steady regardless of the situation. Too often, people allow their feelings to dictate their actions. They work when they feel motivated, they commit when they feel inspired, and they quit when they feel tired or discouraged. But emotions are temporary. Discipline is permanent. A woman who builds her life on discipline doesn't depend on mood swings or outside motivation to move forward. She knows that every great achievement requires consistency and sacrifice. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Showing up for yourself every single day, no matter how you feel. Emotions can be powerful allies, but they can also be dangerous masters. When you let your emotions rule you, you give away your control. You say things you regret, you make impulsive choices, and you lose focus on your long-term goals. A disciplined woman understands that emotions are meant to be felt, not followed. She allows herself to experience pain, anger, or doubt, but she never lets those emotions stop her progress. She knows how to pause, reflect, and redirect her energy toward what truly matters. That's what separates her from those who are easily defeated. She doesn't act on emotion. She acts on purpose. Building discipline is not easy. It requires self-awareness and mental strength. You have to train your mind to choose growth over comfort, to prioritize results over excuses. Discipline means waking up early when you'd rather sleep in, finishing tasks when you'd rather relax, and staying committed when no one is watching. It's about mastering your habits because your habits shape your destiny. The more disciplined you become, the more control you gain over your life. Success doesn't happen by chance. It happens when discipline becomes stronger than emotion. The disciplined woman doesn't wait for the right time. She creates it through action and consistency. Discipline also brings freedom. When you live by discipline, you are no longer enslaved by distractions, laziness, or negative emotions. You earn the peace that comes from knowing you are in control of your life. A disciplined woman doesn't need to prove herself to anyone because her results speak for her. She trusts herself because she has kept her promises to her goals, her vision, and her growth. GOPAL. Discipline transforms chaos into order, fear into confidence, and dreams into reality. And in a world full of noise and emotion-driven decisions, a disciplined woman stands out. Not because she's luckier, but because she's stronger than her feelings. Raising your standards is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect a woman can make. It's about deciding that the bare minimum will no longer satisfy you, not in love, not in work, not in the way you treat yourself. Too many women settle because they fear being alone, misunderstood, or starting over. But every time you settle for less than you deserve, you teach others how little they have to give to keep you. If raising your standards means refusing to compromise your peace, values, or worth just to make others comfortable, it means understanding that you are not hard to please. Others are simply too comfortable giving you less. When you raise your standards, you naturally elevate the energy around you. People who can't meet your new level will fall away, and that's a blessing, not a loss. Growth will always require separation. A strong woman understands that not everyone can walk with her on the path she is building. She stops begging for loyalty, attention, or love because she knows that what's meant for her will never require her to shrink. By setting higher standards, she filters out mediocrity and makes room for excellence in relationships, career, and personal growth. The more she values herself, the more the world begins to value her too. Raising your standards is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's choosing people, habits, and environments that support your highest potential. It's saying no to temporary pleasures that destroy long-term peace. It's setting clear boundaries and enforcing them with quiet strength. A woman with high standards doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't settle for attention, she commands respect. She doesn't lower herself to be understood, she rises until she's recognized for her worth. This mindset transforms every aspect of life because it reminds you that you set the tone for how others treat you. If you act like your time, body, and energy are valuable, people will treat them that way. When you decide to raise your standards, everything begins to shift. Your mindset, your confidence, and your future. You begin to move differently, think differently, and love differently. You stop entertaining drama and start protecting your peace. You stop chasing validation and start pursuing purpose. And while some people may call you too much or too demanding, remember that those are the words of those who can't meet your new level. A woman who raises her standards doesn't apologize for expecting more. She embodies the truth that she deserves it. Because when you raise your standards, you don't just change what you accept. You change what you attract. Pain is something every woman will experience in life. Heartbreak, betrayal, failure, loss, or disappointment. But what separates a weak woman from a strong one is not the amount of pain she faces, but what she does with it. Pain can either destroy you or define you, depending on how you choose to respond. Every difficult moment carries a lesson hidden within it, and when you learn to extract wisdom from your wounds, you transform suffering into strength. A woman who learns to turn pain into power becomes unstoppable because nothing can truly break her anymore. She understands that every scar tells a story not of defeat, but of survival and rebirth. Turning pain into power starts with acceptance. You can't heal from what you refuse to face. Instead of running from pain, you confront it head on and ask, what is this trying to teach me? That shift changes everything. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, you become a student of growth. Pain reveals your weaknesses, but it also reveals your strength. It teaches patience, endurance, and resilience. Qualities that comfort never provide. When you learn to sit with your pain without letting it consume you, you begin to rise from it with a deeper sense of purpose. Every heartbreak can teach you self-worth. Every failure can teach you persistence. Every rejection can redirect you towards something greater. The process of transforming pain into power also requires forgiveness, not for others, but for yourself. Many women carry guilt, regret, or resentment from the past, which keeps them trapped in cycles of self-doubt. But holding on to pain only drains your energy and dims your spirit. Forgiveness frees you. It allows you to take back control and stop letting the past dictate your present. A powerful woman doesn't allow pain to harden her heart. She lets it sharpen her focus. She doesn't use pain as an excuse to close herself off. She uses it as fuel to build something better. Through that, she learns that strength is not about being unhurt. It's about healing and still choosing to love, trust, and grow. When you turn pain into power, you begin to see life differently. What once broke you now builds you. What once silenced you now motivates you. You become wiser, calmer, and more focused because you've walked through darkness and found your own light. The pain that once made you cry becomes the very thing that makes you rise. It becomes your motivation to succeed, your reason to evolve, and your proof that nothing can stop you. The woman who learns to transform her pain into purpose becomes a force of nature, unshakable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. Not because life is easy, but because she turned her hardest battles into her greatest strength. At the end of the day, becoming a strong woman is not about perfection, it's about evolution. It's about refusing to let weakness, fear, or doubt control who you are becoming. Every challenge, every heartbreak, and every setback has been preparing you for the version of yourself that the world truly needs. You are not here to be soft and silent. You are here to be powerful, grounded, and resilient. Strength doesn't mean losing your kindness. It means protecting it with wisdom and courage. The journey towards strength is a choice you make every single day. You choose to rise when it's easier to quit. You choose discipline when emotions run wild. You choose to stand firm in your standards even when others call you difficult. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. A woman who leads herself, respects herself, and builds herself cannot be broken because her foundation is unshakable. You are allowed to be soft, but you must never be weak. You are allowed to feel, but you must never fold. The world will test you, but it will also reward you when you refuse to settle. Your power lies in your consistency, your courage, and your belief in your own worth. You are never meant to blend in. You are meant to rise above. So step into your strength, protect your peace, and never forget you are both the storm and the calm that follows it. Be fierce in your goals, gentle in your heart, and fearless in your pursuit of growth. Because when a woman stops being soft in excuses and starts being strong in action, she doesn't just change her own life, she changes the world around her.